Hi, my name is Mark and I'm from Newsweed.com. This is our summary of the news today as we have gathered from a number of different news sources. Today, the Texas governor has said that local governments can no longer enforce the mask law. Local governments can not fine people and can no longer take control over the coverings of their face. Quietly, there are some changes coming to the prosecution of employers. Here's a story today. It says state and local prosecutors across the United States are increasingly bringing criminal charges against employers who violate the workers' rights by stealing wages or providing unsafe work environments, says a new report from the Economic Policy Institute, a progressive Washington, D.C. based think tank. This is happening now in large because worker organizations like unions and advocacy groups have pushed for it in many instances. This is happening now also because we have in our country a growing understanding of how extreme workplace violations have become. Terry Gerstein, a senior fellow at EPI and author of the report. Excitement is to say the least. Prosecutors are also reconsidering their roles and thinking of ways they can use their prosecutorial power to pursue economic and social justice by holding bosses who violate the law to account, Gerstein added. Gerstein's paper is the second in EPI's new Enforcers series, which focuses on players at the state and local levels working to uphold and promote employee rights. The first report, released last year, also authored by Gerstein, argued for increased state and local enforcement of workers' rights. I have a question. Does that include policemen's rights as their workers and we need their protection? Let me go on. The cases brought forth by state and local prosecutors focus on workplace crimes involving wage theft, misclassification of workers as independent contractors, payroll fraud, labor trafficking, workplace sexual assault, and unsafe working conditions. However, not everyone agrees that the increase in local and state prosecutors taking up more workplace violation cases will ultimately benefit workers. EPI is trying to put under one umbrella things that everyone I know agrees are serious crimes with other things that in my view should not be classified as crimes or sometimes not well enough to find whether you're committing a crime or not. This is a comment from Walter Olson, a senior fellow with the libertarian think tank Cato Institute. Olson concurs with the report's premise that wage theft, workers' compensation insurance fraud, and workplace sexual assault are serious crimes. But he says some employers may be misclassifying workers as independent contractors in some cases because they are unable to figure out what the law requires. A lot of these things are detached from traditional requirement of criminal law of so-called mens rea, which you knew it was wrong, you did it anyway. Wage theft and employers' refusal to pay wages owed, a multi-billion-dollar crime. In the 10 most populous states, 2.4 million workers lose $8 billion annually, or $3,300 per year, to minimum wage violations, nearly a quarter of their earned wages, according to 2017 EPI report. I guess it's not that bad since nobody's working right now, or a lot of people aren't working. Okay, let's move on to the next story. The district attorney in North Carolina says that Andrew Brown tried to flee the scene, and that's why he got shot. Body cam footage was released, and it does show the police surrounding his car and the fact that Andrew Brown did drive away and almost hit an officer. They reacted by shooting through the windows 14 times. People, don't run away from the police if they stop you. They have guns. Andrew Brown was shot in the back of the head. Andrew Brown was not armed and unfortunately is dead. In other news, in Washington, D.C. and other places like Moscow and Havana, some government workers from the United States have becoming very mysteriously ill. This has started recently in November in Washington, D.C. It's called the Havana Syndrome, and it's happened in Russia, China as well. And this is what they think is a magnetic field that attacks the person, and it creates some kind of brain problem. One person actually quoted that he was laying in bed and there was dizziness and the room was spinning. There's no comment from the vodka suppliers. Miss Universe has the power and enough power to spread the word. Miss Universe, as a matter of fact, has stood up in many cases in the recent contest and mentioned problems in Myanmar as well as everywhere else. Here's a very sad story. Speaking of bicycles, Gwen Inglis was killed as a motorist, Ryan Montoya, swerved into the bike lane. The driver, Montoya, was accused of DUI. The attorney for the family wants to fight for bike riders. Gwen Inglis was the wife of champion Mike Inglis and was herself a national cycling champion. I would like to know if bike lanes are infrastructure and who had the bright idea of mixing cars with bikes, because it seems to me that the car is always going to win. And it's a sad story that Gwen Inglis has died. Maybe we need to spend some of that infrastructure money on bike lanes that are actually separate from the road so nobody gets killed. Good night from Newsweed.com. Today is May 18th, 2021.